So let's talk about expanding education with the new Screencastify. I'm Erica Rogan. I am a beekeeping, chicken owning, maple syrup making, speech language pathologist, and UDL expert calling you from my hometown in Katona, New York. I like to consider myself a Screencastify super user. I certainly don't know everything about everything, but I am a problem solver and I like to figure things out. What you see here in this presentation as far as video graphics, this GIF of me waving, I have made with Screencastify. So I'm excited to show you how to do that, because having something like this that represents a little bit of my personality makes it a little bit more engaging and a little exciting. I want you to try out and start to experience Screencastify. Now, for those of you that are familiar with Screencastify, you're going to open the link and see that there's a video, and that will look familiar to you. For those of you who are not familiar with Screencastify, you're going to think it's super awkward that you're on a call with me. Why am I giving you a video link with me on it? What I want you to do is check it out. And what I would really love is that you press play, you answer the questions that are going to be popping up on your screen. And there's two reasons. One, I think it's really important to start to experience these tools on the student end before we start thinking about it on the teacher end. We sometimes jump right into how to design it, but we need that context and that background of what the experience is like. So I like for everyone to see that now. The other piece is there's questions embedded in here, and that's my way of collecting some analytics that we're going to look at and talk about how to analyze that, how to look at that information. I want you to check it out. I'll give you a spoiler alert. The video will play 6 seconds through and then stop, and you might think it's broken, but there's an intentional design there. So I want you to check it out, answer those questions. Okay, excellent. That was our timer, and I already see we have someone telling us what they noticed. So I see that I like that the questions were a simple way to check for understanding while kids are watching a video. Amazing. That is very true. Carrie said, fairly easy to engage with the video and have questions pop up automatically. Yes, I love that you shared that. I think it's a lot easier to explore this and talk about it than me telling you all of these features. It gets a little overwhelming. Angel saying, I like that they can't skip, which is super true. So you guys have noticed so many of the features that we're going to talk about today. And again, as the designer of this, then we will get into how to do that. But for you to experience a video and see that you could prevent people from skipping, that is similar to Edpuzzle, that it's changed a lot. And for those of you that have responded to the questions telling me that you've used it quite a bit during COVID and it was all right, maybe you've had some limited access. Some of you are not using it at all, which is completely fair. I'm very curious if you're going to look into using it more after our time together. But I'm looking at your responses, which we will explore together when we get into the analytics. But Screencastify has changed so much since COVID times. That's when I became a super user because we were recording all of our lessons. But Screencastify has evolved so much over time, and I'm very excited to show you. Let's get into some of the Screencastify features. So I did mention today that we're going to talk about how to create, edit, and share. I definitely want to show you how to turn these videos into quizzes and how to empower students to create video, because now there's an option for student creation also. So you don't have to be the only designer of content. We have a pathway now for students to be able to demonstrate their learning, and we have a pathway for them to add lessons that you can use to enhance your own lessons, and communication with families. Everything is there. So I agree, Nichelle, the evolution of Screencastify is really powerful and exciting, and I want you to see. Also, we'll get into how you can provide that feedback with students. And what I would like you to do is first notice where your extension is. You might have your extension already pushed out where it's on your extension toolbar. You might have it under this white puzzle piece. So I want you to just take a look. You might have to scroll down for your extensions that are already shared. And if you find it on your list, I would hit that blue pin so you can have it remain on your toolbar. I promise you will be using this frequently. And when you're ready to record, you're going to click on it and you're going to notice it's changed since you last used it. But you can choose to record a tab or your full screen. You can choose your webcam only, which is how I made that little GIF or GIF you saw in the beginning of me waving. I just turned on my webcam, waved a couple times and turned it off. So very easy to make those repetitive movement videos. And we'll talk about that also in a little bit. You'll notice my microphone is working because that's the little test, my camera, and here's your other features. I would love it if you take a moment and try this out. Record whatever's on your desktop. If you were here a little bit earlier, you saw on our Do Now, it said to think about a homework assignment or a classwork assignment that you're doing tomorrow. So you can have that up if you'd like. And I just want you to take a minute and record a quick walkthrough demonstration. You can see my video is kind of working through that right now, where I'm just demonstrating to my students what their homework assignment is going to be. And that's going to be really powerful, and I will show you. Leave your drawing tools on for me, and I want you to explore that while you are making your recording, because when you click around and check things out, this is the time. Oftentimes during COVID, I would make these videos and just move the drawing tools out of the way and get right into business. It's changed so much, and I want you to check it out. Again, I like it better with our engagement if you're playing and exploring and coming back to the chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set another timer for you just for 1 minute for you to explore and make a quick video, because then we're going to get into the other features and how to enhance this video. And I want you to have something to play with. I think that's a lot easier while you're listening. And for some of us as learners that need to move and touch things and explore, this is the way to do it. If not, feel free to just watch and try later. It's totally okay. We see Rachel saying, when I went to Screencastify, it pulled up all my old recordings. Yeah, they're there, which is actually nice. You can keep them or you can get rid of them. Carrie said, I noticed I forgot to turn my microphone on. Yeah, it happens, right? And it's part of our process. We'll get used to, we'll get in the flow. Adeline, I had to remind myself what to do after pushing play. Yeah, I had to restart my browser twice to record. I'm not sure if it was glitching because Zoom or what. Yeah, that can happen. If you were able to play around with those drawing tools at all, I want you to see, I'm going to hop back over to mine. When I press record, and again, here's another quick tip, right? You see that microphone moving, that tells me it's on, but it happens. Once I hit record, and I'm trying to do this while zooming, so let's hope it doesn't glitch. Here are my drawing tools. I want you just to take a quick notice because I personally love the highlighter shows my clicks. The spotlight shows where my mouse is. So think about students, think about how they're watching your video and able to see where your mouse is moving. Fireworks also wherever I click my mouse. You'll also see the rectangle tool to be able to make selections if I really wanted to point out or show something on my screen for my students. And that pen tool is still there, but pretty helpful with making recordings. And there's some fun, engaging stickers, and of course my eraser and my option to clear all. Once I hit stop, which you might have done when you were making your video, you would notice that it opened up in your watch page. And that's what I want to talk about now. So we're going to talk about your watch page and your video management page. If you close out of your video management page, if you had just enough time to make your video and you had to go, you will always be able to get back there by your Screencastify extension and by clicking on this play button. So you do not have to fear. Anything you record is going to be saved automatically in your Google Drive and your Screencastify account. So for the person that, I can't remember your name now in the chat, but the one who noticed that all your old videos are there, yeah, they're there. They're in your Google Drive as well. And we will talk about how you can organize that in a moment. We're going to talk about the editor feature and what you can do now to create and edit your video. We're going to talk about how to enhance that video with AI captions and AI voiceover, which I think is super exciting. How to make these fun little GIFs that you see in my presentation. So we'll talk about that for a little bit. And what we call world languages, which you have access to. This is for Rachel's question about the capability of closed captioning in other languages. So let's get into it. I want to just check my chat really quickly. let's see, I could not find my drawing tools. I'm not seeing the same things as you have on my Screencastify. Okay, Rachel, let's take a look. We can definitely hang on a little bit after the call if you want to see. It could just be an update that's needed. So let's take a look at that. And Adeline, I could not find my drawing tools. So some people were experiencing a small glitch where it took a few seconds to pop up. So let's just make sure it's not on the bottom of your screen. I'm making a note of it to check on that in a little bit, but it definitely should load for you. So if you want to give that another try, that should happen. Let me just orient you to your watch page because this is what will pop up for you when you finish making your recording. You'll notice on the top, you have an untitled video. You'll see where you can edit the video. That's where we're going to go when we're going to talk about editing next. On the right-hand side is where I'm going to be sharing and enhancing my video. So we're going to get into all these features in a moment. And on the left-hand side of my screen is where I'm going to be able to access all of my other videos in my library, some other features and tools that are here, and if you want to do any micro-credentialing or access support. So that's everything is here. And what I like about Screencastify is that you don't have to go to multiple places. You can just stay in one place and get to work. What I want you to do first, if you were successful at making your video, I want you to go ahead and click on Edit. And what's really nice about clicking Edit is that Screencastify is going to make a copy. So that raw video, that original video that you've created will remain untouched and unedited, but now you have the option to pull out components of that video. You also have the option to just clean it up if you want to keep all the information that you've recorded, but you just want to clean up a little bit. There were some interruptions. Maybe you weren't happy with the way something, you were describing something, you can do that too. But what's really neat for anyone that really wants to differentiate their lessons is that you can record an entire lesson and come into the editor and start pulling out certain pieces. And that's going to be really helpful when I show you the different options you have for sharing your video, because this can be the place where you come to now create those mini lessons for any rotations in your classroom. If you have different stations and you want to record a walkthrough of any of those models that you've made, you can pull that out. Maybe you've recorded a whole lesson and you just want to pull out this one piece because everyone's still having trouble. They're emailing you at night, they're confused, they're not sure how to do it, and you can come in and pull that one little piece out. So when you're in the editor, on the bottom of your screen, you'll see you have all these tools. You can cut, crop, zoom. It might be grayed out for you. And if that's the case, make sure that the video on the bottom is highlighted in yellow. You can click it and just kind of click on it once and it should all pop up for you. And you'll notice as I click around, my cursor jumps, and that's just jumping to the part of my video that I want to focus on. So I'm going to cut out the beginning part. Or actually, let me not touch the beginning because that's actually nicer for me. I'm going to cut out a piece here. Someone knocked on my door, it came in and interrupted. Someone sneezed. So you can see I can move my cursor wherever I would like and hit cut. And what it's done is it's separated that one chunk, and I can highlight that piece and hit delete. And now it's gone. It still exists in my original video, which I still have in my Screencastify account. So I can always go back and use that video for something else. But for this purpose, for these purposes, it's out. I'm going to click back and I have the option to crop. I like this option because it allows me to crop out anything on my screen that might be a distraction for my students. The top of the screen is usually distracting for some students. They like to see what tabs I have open, and they like to see anything else but the lesson, right? So I'm going to crop out all of that, and I'm going to hit done. And you'll notice now my video changes and it looks cleaner. It doesn't have all that distracting information. I can also zoom, and this is a favorite because when you click on it, notice what happens. A magnifying glass pops up and my screen changes where I can decide how much of my screen I'd like to zoom in on. And this is going to create an opportunity for my students to have their attention directed on my screen. So I'm just taking my mouse and I'm hovering over so you can see what that looks like. And it's really nice. I now know that we are looking at the same thing that I'm talking about in my video, and there isn't any confusion. And when I move past it, you can see it zooms out. So I can certainly click on this magnifying glass and drag it if I wanted it to stay a little bit longer. You can see how I'm doing that. And I can also pick my magnifying glass up and move it around if I wanted to play around with that timing. So I love that so much. When we're done exploring the editor, I'm definitely going to look at the chat to see what you guys are thinking, and any questions that you might have. But I want you to also see this blur. So blur is also exciting because look what pops up on my screen. It blurs out a portion of my video. I can come over to the right and change that intensity if I'd like. Maybe I don't want anyone looking ahead. You know, we have students that are always 3 steps ahead of us and looking at what's ahead, but I really need to make sure we're looking and we're focusing on this demonstration. Maybe I have confidential information on my screen or student names that I want to blur out. And I can certainly add additional ones if I'd like to continue to blur out portions of my video and hit done. And once again, you notice that there's a purple square, purple rectangle that shows up on my screen. That shows me where it is, and I'm able to kind of scooch that if I needed to. Okay. The other feature is text, so I can add text to my video. This is really helpful if I want to make sure that I have some kind of direction there. Maybe I want to make sure if I'm doing a model of a homework assignment or a classwork, I want to make sure that that final piece is written here. Sometimes students need to see that example, and while they're watching your video, there's some more information on the screen. You'll see that there's like a little call out feature that's available. So I'm able to visually see where all of these are. And I have all my text features here on the right to be able to play around and change my text and add as many as I'd like. Now, before you leave the editor, I want you to notice all the way on the right where you can add media. So this option right here is really exciting because I can upload a video to my current video here. I can also pull in any other videos from my drive. And this is going to be amazing because remember in the beginning when I said that students can become the creator? Well, now you can very easily pull in those videos right from your drive account. And any other videos that you've created in Screencastify, you can pull in because Screencastify automatically creates a folder for you. So the video that you've made today will now exist in both Google Drive and in your account, and you will automatically have a folder called Screencastify. So it's pretty exciting when you start thinking about how you can use this to differentiate lessons and how to pull out pieces of a lesson. When you are done, you can come up and click Export. And I'm going to export it back to Screencastify. I don't really want to send it out to my students yet. And I want to bring it back to Screencastify so I can enhance it even more. So while we're doing that, I'm going to look at the chat and I'm curious if you have any thoughts about the editor, anything that you liked about it or noticed. Let's see. Oh, Rachel. Okay, so definitely watch now and then try it for sure. That's great. I'm seeing Michelle say, when I'm in the software, where do I record? I saw it when I hit the bookmark, but now I have my account open and I can't find it. Okay, Michelle, I want to show you how to do that. Unless you were able to figure that out because that was a little while ago. So just let me know how to use the new feature AI Companion. I'm going to show you. And Angel said, using this to model the Freyer model. Amazing idea. Did anyone see anything else in the editor that they really liked that we were talking about? Whether it's the blur or the ability to zoom in. If not, we can just move forward. Oh, let's see. Carrie said that blur is going to come in handy for my speedy kids. Yes. And zooming in for the Freyer to get them to focus on one section at a time. It's going to look really great. Oh, Rachel, yeah, you figured it out. Good job. We do have kids that look ahead. That's just sometimes the way our brains work, right? And some of us do need to know how many more problems are on this worksheet or how much longer am I going to be doing this. So that's okay. But when you're really working on that demo, that explanation, we want to make sure we're looking at the same place. So that's exciting. I just want to make sure that I answer Michelle's question before we go any further. So bear with me, everyone. I just want to show Michelle, you're looking for the extension. So you're looking on your extension bar And that's either going to already be here as this little arrow, or you're going to look in that white puzzle piece and you're going to find it there. Once you're in there and you click on it is where you're going to find the ability to hit record. And you're going to want to make sure you select your entire screen, and that will work for you. So I just wanted to make sure we pause for a second to just answer that question. Okay,
I,
so
I,
let's get
I,
back. Oh,
I'm sorry. I did that and saw that. It's just when I opened up into my account, you see how you have your screen under your name over there? I
mhm.
don't see where the record button is when I look to the left. That's what I mean.
On here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't be able to record from here. Your
Okay.
Yeah, your only recording option is going to be from this extension.
Yeah, I saw that. I
Okay.
just couldn't
Yep.
figure out how to record once I opened. Okay.
Yeah, so the
All right.
nice part, so the nice thing is you don't have to open anything else up. So in the moment, you can just very quickly click on that extension, and that makes that workflow a little bit easier. Because I'm working with some of my teachers now that we have Promethean panels in our school district. So they're doing that right from their panel, and they're saying, "Hey guys, we're about to break into groups. Let me show you how I want you to work on this." And then they're making that recording. Or let's go over that model of homework before, before we put this away in your folders. Here's what I want you to work on. And then that workflow to just come and click makes it faster than having to sign in and go through all the actual web page. While we're here, you're going to notice, some of you that saw that your old videos are here. There's now a folder system, so you can organize a lot easier. You can add those folders, and anything you add here in Screencastify is going to carry over to your Google Drive. So that's very exciting because now you can very easily organize and keep track of your videos. And what you're going to be able to do soon is add co-teachers so you can share those videos, which is really great. And I think within the next week or so, you'll be able to drag and drop videos right into your folder. So quick little organization tip. While we're here, check this out. This is where we edited our own version, and I have my homework model that we did together, and here's my unedited regular video of my whole lesson. So I just wanted you to see that with that click of a button, I can pull out as many chunks of a video that I need and then be able to send that out. And that's going to be really important when we talk about how to send video. So I want you to see. I went a little quick. I just want you to know what I did. I came over back to my original video, and I'm directing your attention to the right side of the screen now, how we can share and how we can enhance. So sharing your video as is, I can click on it and get that link copied to my clipboard, and then I could be ready to go. What I really love is I can preview any of this before I even send it out. So I love that. A lot of products don't allow you to see the student or the viewer side. You have your share settings I want you to be aware of. This is where I can have and decide if I want comments on my video, which enables that feedback loop if I needed it, or if this is for homework, I have a place that's open for students to ask for help, or families if they're supporting their kids. I know I would have loved this, helping my kids through their homework. I don't really know how to do some of the fourth grade math that my daughter's doing now, but I can choose that comment to be private just to me, and then I can see that and support public so everyone can collaborate, or I can just turn it off completely. And then you can see my video privacy and my analytics that are here also. So this is going to come in handy when we're talking about any kind of asking questions and embedding questions in your videos. And you'll want to make sure you have the name on so you can see who's responding. Let's talk about sharing this out. You're a Google Classroom school, so you're going to be able to share this video directly to your Google Classroom. And by clicking this link, it's going to open up the, where did I go? I got lost in my tabs. Here we go. It'll open up that same workflow that you're used to with being able to share to your classroom. And then you can have your action and you can assign it this way. But you'll also be able to go in through your Google Classroom and add in your assignment. I'm going to make sure I send you that link so you have it when you get all this material so you can walk through that as well. You can email this directly out if needed. So a really quick reply to a family member is helpful. But this is one of my favorite things that we don't often get to talk about. Generating a QR code means that this entire video and anything I decide to enhance and do later on will now be available via QR code. So I can take that homework model and I can put this little demo right on my homework packet on paper. And I don't have to worry about putting it in my Google Classroom because it can go home with that homework assignment with my students. This is how you can differentiate your lessons or your group work by putting these QR codes around your classroom in those different stations. And now students have the model and the directions to watch or rewatch as many times as they need, which we know is crucial for a lot of learners who might need that repeated exposure, might need to go back because they don't remember all those steps. And it helps to reduce that cognitive load for students because you were giving directions on transitioning to another part of the classroom. We're also giving directions on what they need, how they need to do it, and who they're working with. That's a lot for some students. So having this recorded in there helps to reduce some of that. Or we have students that are coming and going from specials or related services, right, that come in at the end and they're able to now get right to work independently. But also having this link either on your Google Classroom or QR code will allow students to watch this video as many times as they need. Also, you can use this to enhance projects, poster boards, bring bulletin boards to life, flyers, right? The opportunities are endless, which is so exciting. My daughter actually embedded a QR code on her poster board project when she studied the ancient Mayan civilization. And she did all of the work. Her poster board was beautiful. She had pictures, she had text that she typed, but she also did a Google Earth tour of Mayan ruins. And she just put this QR code right on her poster. And it really enhanced and personalized it, which for her was very engaging and exciting. So there's a lot you can do, and I love it. Gonna check the chat and see if anyone feels the love like I do, because I love that feature. Let's see. I'm seeing I like the zoom in. I like the magnifying part. Good. Let's see. I'm still scrolling. Oh gosh, I love your engagement, everybody. Keep going. Keep asking all the questions. Being able to tag standards will make the people doing walkthroughs happy. You know what? It's so true. But being able to tag standards and then be able to find them is really great. I'm going to show you how to do that. I see my 6th grade ELA students are beginning their performance task mastery for Greek mythology unit, and there's a digital video component, and Screencastify will work great for them. You're totally right, Carrie. Let's keep thinking about that too while we dig in. Okay. For those of you that saw ahead, this is where you can add those tags for your standards, which is so fabulous. Before you start enhancing, I just don't want you to forget, because we're talking about sharing. Click on the bottom caret where you can export, because there's other features down here that get kind of buried. You'll notice some of the obvious ones that you can export. This is where I'm creating those GIFs or those GIFs. So when you saw the video of me waving before, I just turned on my extension and turned on the webcam. And the video that popped up when I was done recording, I was able to export as that GIF. And that means that it just takes that video and chunks it down to that repetitive kind of video. And once it exports it, I can download that and I just insert that in my slides. So the waving, I just put in my Canva slides and expanded. We've done this for visual schedules where we have up on our panel, take out your red folder, put your blue folder away, and you can just make that recording and it just lives on your screen to really take that direction and bring it to life. We've had PE teachers who have done this for skills and for different rotations that students are doing. So you want to show those specific skills and movements. So there's a lot you can do. But I've also had students use this for vocabulary work, and that and I have a video that I'll send to you, but how you can now create your own little stop motion cartoon and turn that into a GIF with this click of a button. So it's very exciting. I actually had recorded with my webcam, my daughter just reenacting a vocabulary word. So for those of you who are thinking about the Freyer model, this is another great way that you can either encourage your students to use their webcam, or you can just turn on your webcam and act out that motion. So we were reading a caterpillar book that was munching, and I just had her, we turned on the webcam and she went like that. I stopped it, and then I came over here and I just clicked export, and it was able to go right into a slideshow to really enhance that lesson. So that can go right on your Frayer model and you have embedded a really neat video. So you can see that once it's done, I am able to download it and then move on. You also have the ability to pull out just the sound. So podcast-like experience. Some teachers like to pull that sound out and embed it somewhere. So I just want you to know that this is here. Okay, without any further ado, let's talk about AI Assistant because it's pretty exciting. Once you click that, and I recommend you do it now unless you're driving, if you haven't already done it, I want you to notice that once I enhance my video, it's going to, you'll see this green line moving. And what it's doing is it's analyzing the transcript from my video lesson. And what it's going to do is take that information, it's going to automatically add captions, which we know is beneficial for many of our students and necessary for many of our students, but it also supports multi-language learners. It supports learners who need multiple modalities for instruction. So that with a click of a button has not only added captions, but check out my title. It's not untitled anymore. And it actually has a really nice title. I can change it if I needed to, but I like it. And when I scroll down, I have a description, which again, I can edit, but it's actually pretty accurate and I love it. Here's what it looks like. And this is why it's important. This one click AI enhanced. I'm looking at preview. Again, any way I send this video out, QR code, Google Classroom, a link, this is what my viewers will experience, my students, my parents. But
I'm
look
back here.
whoop. Now look at this video. It has the closed captioning, which is so exciting. And it provides this description and title for a really nice context. Here's where you can see the comments that I was talking about, right? This provides that background information that's helpful and needed. And my students or families are able to now view this video with accessibility features already built in. And this goes back to Rachel's question before. I have the opportunity now to check out my captions and I can translate my captions. I can also have AI voice over my video completely in a different language. So I can choose as the listener that I want just to change my captions, and I can do that. When I click on languages, you're going to notice, hopefully it don't make you nauseous, all the different ways, all the different languages that I can translate. And I know that that's something that's expanding, but there's quite a few here already to make this video accessible for our families. And I can choose to leave the language it's spoken in English and just change it to just my closed captioning alone. So I can support my multi-language learners in this way also. So I'm down at the bottom of the list, it's alphabetical. And while I'm doing that, you'll see that it's translating my captions. It takes a few seconds. And my AI voiceover will also, it's the same languages. So you see my closed captions already changed and I'm ready to watch. AI voiceover is the same languages exist. And once I click on it, it's going to take a few minutes, but that voice changes and I can listen to it in that language. So I'm looking at the chat. I'm curious what you all are thinking. How is this going to make those incredibly amazing opportunities for inclusive spaces for our students or our families? Because if we're now sending information home, we're thinking homework, flyers, what is this doing for our families and our students? And you can unmute too if you'd like, that's totally fine. Nichelle saying, wow, right? I told you it was so exciting. So with just a click of a button, I highly recommend that you do this on every video. It said it failed to generate, it must be my Wi-Fi, but it is a very amazing way to be able to now create those accessible videos. Okay, let's talk about adding a quiz. If you haven't already clicked, this is where I can turn my videos into those Edpuzzle experiences. So I'm able to add my question at any point in my video. You'll notice I'm at 0, 0. So I can slide my cursor over to wherever I'd like, and I can add my questions. I have the ability to add multiple choice or short answer. I can also add a note if I wanted to give a note or a heads up, there's a question coming in. And all you have to do is enter in your information, right? It's pretty self-explanatory here, similar to the Edpuzzle users. I can select my answers. And because it's multiple choice, it will auto grade for me and transfer that information to my Google Classroom. So that's amazing. We always like that workflow to be streamlined for us. I can add my question weight and save it. It currently is not auto grading short answers, but you're still able to add that information in here and how you want your limit response to be, question weighting, and you can embed it. But did you already click this button? Because if you're like me, you already pressed it. Generating questions. So AI will now analyze this video as long as you've enabled captions. It will analyze that same transcript. It's going to think of questions for you. And this is a game changer for all of us because we know that we can add in some of the questions, but having AI also support us in that is super helpful. So while I am letting AI think about questions, what are your thoughts about this? Audrey's responding before, yeah, all families can engage, great for, yeah. Great for multi-language students, better for communication. So wonderful. And Joel is saying wonderful, right? Being able to embed those questions and capture those analytics. Check out the different questions. What's the result of 3 times 2? So it's analyzed my entire video. I can add them individually. I can also scroll to the very bottom without making you nauseous and add them all. And once I do that, you'll notice it's going to come up here with my rest of my questions, and I can certainly edit as needed. So that is also really helpful because we know that when we use AI, sometimes it gets it right or close, and sometimes it's off base. So we can certainly edit. And your settings is where you're going to want to come in and prevent that skipping. So for those of you that notice that you couldn't skip ahead, you probably, just like your students, do that immediately on a video. Let's get to the question, but now I've prevented that. You have additional information that you can fill out and hit save. Once again, you can preview it before, but you will notice that everything carries over on my video. Closed captioning stays, the ability to translate stays, and my questions are here. So once I finish and share, I'm back to the same page you're familiar with, because that's where, again, you have your options with how you want to share this. And it all remains the same, whether it's in your Google Classroom or on a QR code. So now you can think about how you're collecting those analytics. And let's look at the analytics as a teacher before we jump into the student side. Okay, I'm going back to my videos. And what you'll notice on your videos is if it has been viewed, you'll see that you have viewers and you'll see if you have responses. So this is a quick view for you. So this is the one that you saw when you first signed on to tell me how familiar you were with Screencastify. And I'm just scrolling to the bottom of this video, and here's where I can see viewers and my responses. So very easy. Again, one place, which I really like because for me, I often don't remember all the different places I have to go to find information. And every platform is different. So knowing that I have to come to one place is really helpful. I can download a CSV if I need to. I can also filter my responses, and scrolling down allows me to see some answers. And all I have to do is come up and just edit. If I go to my question, and I can edit my score, and then I can come in here and I can start adding if I didn't have it set up for auto grading. So really easy. I can save and then move on. So I love it. I think it streamlines that work. I'm noticing we have some questions in the chat, so I'm just taking a look to make sure we're doing okay. Can you go back to where you add questions? I can't find. Absolutely. So when you want to add that question, again, in the same screen of your video, you'll notice under assess. So after you've enhanced, you're assessing. I've already sent this out so I can come in and edit, but that's where I'm going to find it. Okay, let's see. We've talked about world languages and assessing. I'm going to send you this video. So we talked about how you can add this from your Google Classroom, but I'll send that to you. And I just want to touch base really quickly because this aligns so beautifully with Universal Design for Learning and how we're really presenting choice and autonomy for our students, whether this is the way they want to engage in their learning or some options for them to create videos. we're able to show representation in a better way with using video, right? Because we can support how we're displaying information, how students are able to perceive with both video, demonstration, and closed captioning, and also supporting the diversity of perspectives. So Screencastify really does allow us to create these inclusive environments for all students. And I just want you to see how beautifully it aligns and start to think about how we can really use this to support text, mathematical notation, and really supporting vocabulary and language. So it's really, really great. Now we're going to talk about submit. So this is a feature that we were talking about before, how students can now create their own video. So we've talked about engaging and representation, but now we're talking about how students can act on their learning. And this is where they can create their own videos, their own demonstrations, just like you might do, just like we talked about today. They can do all of that for you. And I love this quote because we have those firm goals, but we can have flexible ways to encourage our students to engage. We're thinking about science experiments, fluency practice, maybe practicing different foreign language if they're in a world language program in their middle school, high school age, vocabulary practice, reading responses, right? All of the different ways that students can interact and show their learning. I have some teachers who use this for weekly updates for their parents. So they encourage their students to do that, and then you can send it home. And here's what's really beautiful. I want to show you really fast because you're going to get access to all those QR codes and flyers that I'm showing you. But with a click of a button, again, this is in my Screencastify account, and I'm clicking on submit. I can create an assignment where my students can now record their own video. And I want you to see, I hope we have, I'm looking at the time, I hope we have some time, but I want you to try it out on the student end and see what it's like. I'm just going to put it in the chat for you. If you are on your phone, again, please just be safe if you're driving. But I just want you to see how it shows you this video, a picture. There's a prompt on there, and if you click on it, it's going to open your webcam and it's going to ask you a question. Let me know what you discovered. Yeah, so someone's saying they can practice their language while explaining something they know how to do. So it is really cool. And I want you to know that it's so accessible. And the reason why I want you to explore it is because sometimes we think about our students, whether they're really young or whether they are not able to click on multiple buttons and features. This is very easy to be able to click that button and make it very accessible. All that text also is able to be read with any text-to-speech software, so that makes it really easy for students as well. What I want you to see is when I click on submit, I have the ability to create that assignment. So thinking about what do I want my students to show and demonstrate? Well, down here on the bottom is where you can decide their screen and their webcam, just their webcam or just their screen. So they can make videos of anything that they're doing on their computer. So for that Greek mythology project you were talking about before, the world is open to be able to record their slides and have their webcam open so they can make their own video demonstration. They can talk and discuss at length about anything that they found on Google Arts and Culture or Google Earth, right? So really bring that Greek mythology project to life. I also have students who are doing this to support each other with homework, right? And collaboration. So you can make a video demonstration of that work. Or for those students who get finished early and would like to help as a student help desk, that's something that also is helpful. But any opportunity, and again, you can turn off the webcam because not everybody likes that. So I like the feature. You'll see I can add my title, and anything on the instructions is going to remain on the screen for students when they're recording with their webcam. So if you just want them practicing fluency, your instructions of what you would like them to do or your prompt that you want them to remember will stay on the screen for them, which is really great. It doesn't show up on the screen for desktop, obviously. We don't want it to be in the way of what they're seeing. But again, you can tag those learning standards. And because you're Google Classroom users, you are able to then share this directly to your Google Classroom, which is great. And the same workflow exists here. If you do not use Google Classroom or you just want to have the link, you'll see that you have video privacy and student video privacy. If it's in your Google Classroom, students will be able to follow the same setup that you have if students can see it or not. But if you are sharing via link, you can have this available where they can see it in their Google Drive account. And here's what's really amazing. Anything students save is going into a Google Drive folder for you, where you can upload and insert that directly into slides, directly back into your Screencastify account, which is pretty cool and super, super exciting. So Submit is rapidly evolving. It's replacing Flipgrid or Flip for a lot of users since we lost access to that. So you'll see that there's a lot of changes coming soon and updates that are going to be happening. So keep checking on Submit because they're really enhancing that. I'm just showing you now because we're about to wrap up what you're going to be getting in an email from me. So I've created an opportunity for you to try Submit with your students. If you wanted to embed a student self-reflection for parent-teacher conferences, maybe this can be a good starting point. And you'll notice in the information that I'm sharing, there is a Google slide template that students can certainly record themselves with. So you're going to get all these little handy tools to try, because I know when we're learning something new, we want to have something to get started with. And for those of you that might like to use this, this can be how you can either use the webcam or the desktop recording.